Good afternoon and welcome to our ActivTrades Monday Market Matters webinar for the 29th of January. And today we're going to be focusing on utilizing checklists in our trading. Just as always, it just help us a great deal if you can just confirm that the tech is working, that you can actually see the slides and that you can actually hear my voice. That would be great to know. We just want to make sure that the technology is helping us rather than fighting us, and so that's great. So, okay. Thank you. That's very good. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for the crew here. That's great. As I said, welcome to our webinar. We're here at the end of January already. The first month has slid past pretty fast, and we have got an interesting week ahead. It's I would probably say it's probably the most eventful and exciting week of the year so far. So there's plenty for us to discuss and to have a look at. So let's crack on with Monday Market Matters for today. What will we talk about? Well, as always, we'll do a little introduction to Monday Market Matters for those of you joining us for the first time. But then we'll look at the main element of our educational piece for today, which is about understanding, what are checklists? Where do they come from? And most importantly, how do we use them in our trading? And those of you who know me, or those of you who see me speaking elsewhere, or followed my progress, will know that checklists are a little bit of a hobby horse of mine. They are something that I have had lots of experience in utilizing, and I think they are unbelievably important when it comes to utilizing in trading in terms of helping traders, especially beginner traders, but all traders, get to grips with their trading and be able to sort of improve their own trading progress. So there's lots here that you can take away that you could utilize in your own trading, and that's one of our aims for Monday Market Matters. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Paul. Traded for many years. Before I started trading, I was a battle manager in the Air Force, and I mentioned that today because that plays a big part in our discussion today regarding checklists. But as I said, traded for many years, traded for funds, traded for clients. Primarily, I generally tend to focus on trading FX indices and commodities. I tend to be a trend trader for sort of longer term swing and position trades, and I tend to be a mean reversion trader for sort of shorter term intraday trading, all of which has plays its part in our sessions today, and we'll discuss that more as we go along. It's been great to have people here who've joined us for our series Monday Market Matters, but I do recognise that we have people joining us for our first sessions, and Monday Market Matters is all about helping traders start the week in the right frame as we prepare for the opening of the US markets in about 25 minutes time. So every Monday at 2 o'clock London time, we take a look at the news for the week ahead. We have a chat mostly about educational elements. And as I said, today we're going to talk about checklists. We'll always take a little look at some of the tools that you have access to on the ActivTrades platforms. And always we finish with a little look at the live markets as the start of, as I said, sort of a US session on the first day of the week, and on a week that will be rather interesting. So there was always plenty for us to cover, always plenty for us to talk. We're never short of things to discuss when it comes to trading and markets, and how you can engage with them with ActivTrades. But let's start as always by having a little chat regarding the news. Okay, I make no apology. I say it every week. Namely that, if you're a new trader, I don't expect you to be able to understand, or analyze all of the elements of the economic news that comes across the wires. But it is very important to know when that news is coming out. Okay, and that is crucially important, because normally we get a little bit of there can often be a volatility spike after that, so as the news comes in, and markets and traders sort of assimilate the data and analyze what it actually means. And so as a new trader, that can sometimes be a bit challenging if you're unaware of what actually news is coming out. So the best way to find that news is that there is an economic calendar. You will find that there is an economic calendar on the ActivTrades website that you can utilize, and there are other ones across the internet. So there's no excuse not to basically to have at least a knowledge of when that news is coming out. And I do appreciate that we have a wide range of experience of the people who join us for our sessions. We're also a wide range of geographic locations. We have a truly global audience, and you're all very, very welcome here. Just remember that when you're looking at an economic calendar, just ensure that you can basically work out what that time is in your own local time based upon where you are. So, as I said, we've got a busy week ahead in terms of news, all right, and we also have the end of the month carrying on, and we also have quite a few of the major US tech firms sort of presenting their earnings this week, and in particular, we have. Lots of traders are interested in what's called the sort of Magnificent Seven of specific sort of US tech stocks, which have helped power these American markets to certainly to new highs in terms of some of the indices. And part of 5 of those are announcing their earnings this week. So I think just looking at my list here, tomorrow we have Microsoft, and we've got Google, and on Thursday we have Apple, Amazon, and Meta platforms, Facebook. So traders will be keenly aware of what those earnings look like, because they believe that they will have a huge impact on markets and then invariably on the indices. And then when we look at the indices themselves, and we look for specific news that's coming out, well, tomorrow we have GDP figures, as you can see there, for France, Spain, Italy, and the Euro area. And the general consensus is that we may well see that the Euro area has been in a technical recession, which will have an impact on people's confidence about the Euro area. We also have the JOLTS job openings for the US in the afternoon, and there will be some commentary from the Bank of Japan. Wednesday is probably a little bit more of a bigger day in terms of we have Australian inflation figures are published, and traders will be expecting them to continue to decelerate. There is some Chinese data, and there is also some Japanese data. We also have some German data, in regards to employment, GDP, and inflation figures. As I said, that will perhaps help confirm that whether Europe is in a technical recession. But I think most people will be looking at, in particular, is of course Wednesday evening to myself here in the UK, but as I said, be aware of where it is relative to your own time zone. We have the FOMC, the Federal Reserve's monetary policy meeting, and they will have their announcements. And whilst most traders, investors do not believe there to be anything like it, whether an interest rate cut or an interest rate hike, what people will be interested in is to see what, if any, sort of new guidance or narrative comes out of the FOMC policy meeting, and that's what traders will be particularly keenly aware of. On Thursday, we have PMIs out of China. We have the Euro area putting up more of its data with regards to inflation and unemployment figures, and we also have at midday here, UK time, the Bank of England has its meeting on monetary policy, and Mr. Bailey, the Governor of the Bank of England, will invariably be releasing a statement after that. And a bit like the American FOMC meeting, nobody's really expecting whether it be a move in terms of whether it be a cut or a hike, but what people will be interested to see is his level of confidence and what guidance he might provide to markets over the sort of the let's say the trajectory over the next few months. And there is also the American manufacturing PMI done. Friday, well, of course, it's first Friday of the month. So as well as the Swiss consumer confidence, most traders will be focused on the US non-farm payrolls and their other employment figures at the end of this week, but the start of the new month. So, as I said, there was an awful lot of big news coming out this week, okay, and particularly people will be looking at Euro area technical recession, the US JOLTS job openings, the FOMC meeting Wednesday night, Bank of England Thursday, and NFP on Friday. These are, as I said, it's probably one of the most eventful weeks of the year so far. I appreciate we're only into the 5th week of the year, but nonetheless, what I do believe is that we may well get a little bit more clarity on the trajectory of certain instruments by the end of this week, whether that be British pound sterling, US dollar, US indices, etc. So all of those will have traders will be watching and sort of being able to analyze and gauge what occurs there. So as I say, if you're a brand new trader, I don't expect you to be able to analyze the data, but it is very important for you to know when that data is being released. And as I said, that's you need to sort of make sure that you're checking in on an economic calendar. So that's our news piece done. So let's move on to education. Okay, let's talk about our main topic of today, which is all really about how to utilize, create checklists for your trading. As the slide says, many of us like to think of ourselves as purely discretionary traders. However, the more you work at your trading, the more that traders realize that they do require some elements of structure. And as usual, like in many endeavors in life, is that sometimes it takes some failures in order for us to realize those particular challenges for traders, and also realize that that invariably the way we conduct ourselves has to change. We have to improve, and that's for trading, but that's really for, you might say, for any particular business really. And what we find is that in fast-moving markets, it's very easy to miss important steps in your trading plan. That can have a detrimental effect upon your performance, whether that be on an individual trade or a trading session or a day, week, month, etc. And so for many traders, this is where some simple checklists may actually help you. And before we go any further, it would be interesting to know, for those of you joining us for the session here today, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you presently use checklists in your own trading? You can just put your answer in into the chat box. There is, if you're not, and that's fine. There's no judgment. All of us are on our journey. All of us, are trying to evolve into our best trading self. And so, that's the good part of these sessions, is that, it's all about educating you and helping you sort of become the very best trader that you can be. So Eugene says he uses checklists. That's great to know. That's great to know you, Eugene. Well done. Congratulations, etc. So, I, as I said right at the start, I am a very big proponent of checklists, and I will explain why, okay, as we go deep into today's session. But I think that it can be something that can really help traders of regardless of where they are in their journey, whether you've been trading for 2 weeks or 2 decades. Having checklists can really help you evolve to your next level as a trader. They can really help you improve your trading. Okay, and that's what we're here today to sort of talk about. So, one of the questions might be saying, well, okay, Paul, all right, well, where do checklists come from? Why should we be interested in particularly utilizing them? Well, when we look at checklists, okay, we talk about, they first came about out of military aviation back in the 1920s and 1930s. And what we saw was that as aircraft went from single-engine aircraft to multi-engine, what they found was that the number of accidents increased. And what they found was that as the complexity and the pace of the aircraft increased, the ability to make human errors also increased as well. And therefore, they created checklists in order to help ensure that human errors were avoided wherever possible. And that's why it says, hence why you see airline pilots using checklists to this day. So, when you go and get on a flight, well, then invariably, it doesn't matter whether that pilot who turns up, whether it's his first day at his career or his final day after 30, 40 years, he will still be using checklists throughout it. And the reason they do is because it works, simply, is it because it works. And you can actually it was just a pure coincidence that that photo there is of an American B-17 Flying Fortress aircraft, and some of you, depending upon where you are in the world, you may have watched the start of the Masters of the Air series, which was kind of released over the weekend, and in that, you see pilots on Flying Fortresses utilizing their checklists, constantly utilizing the checklists. And as I said, it came out of that they found that it was a very simple yet effective way in order to ensure that human error were reduced massively. And of course, what we have to remember is that when it comes to aviation, the consequence for failure, is considerably different. If you're wrong in a trade, you might take a little bit of an emotional sting, a little bit of a time loss, perhaps a little bit of a financial loss. If you're managing risk correctly, the thing is that all of those you can redeem. There can be positive taken out of that. Whereas when something goes wrong in military aviation, and in aviation in general, as I say, the consequence for failure can be quite high. And so there is, of course, that provides the incentive and the motivation for pilots and anyone involved in aviation to manage risk, manage risk considerably. So, I myself am in my role as a performance coach for traders and in sports, I'm very, very keen on being able to utilize other tools from other high performance environments and utilize and adapt them and make the best use of them in our trading. Anything that can help us, in this particular case, reduce human errors and trade better is to be applauded and to be embraced. So Patrick says here, my main checklist is to check whether today is a trending or a sideways market based on currency strength for the 4 hour and the daily and the weekly. That's a good start, Patrick. It's a good start. Now it's a good checklist. And actually, what we're going to talk about is we're going to go even a little bit deeper than that. We're going to go a little bit further than that, Patrick, and stuff. And hopefully, you'll be able to sort of pick up and take some items away to help you with your own trading. It's a good start. And that's. As I said, there's never any judgment from myself. It's, I'm here to help you. I'm here to educate, and and it is about basically what can we do to make ourselves the best traders we possibly can be. So, as I said, it doesn't matter for an airline pilot or any pilot, It doesn't matter if it's their first day on the job or their last. The airline industry knows that checklists work, and they spend millions of dollars on building robust checklists. And it might even be more than that. I think I may have read something that Boeing may spend about $1 billion a year on ensuring their checklists, are invariably robust and work. And it might be said that, of course, Boeing has had considerable difficulties over the last couple of years, but it's not been due to checklists. It's been due to other issues, perhaps in the engineering department. And other issues in the boardroom in terms of the actual flying and basically utilizing checklists. They work, and as it says, if they know them, they work, and they help keep people safe, then why wouldn't we use them as well as traders? Now, as I said earlier, I'm hugely committed to utilizing elements from other high performance environments that may help you to be the best trader that you possibly can be, and that's what that's what, on a personal level, what I want from these webinars. And also, we hope that it helps you. It helps you progress in your own particular journey. And if we particularly look at that, let's say in a broader aspect in terms of looking at trading, well, I'm a military veteran myself, and most military veterans, will know that that skill is a drill, and it's not necessarily even military veterans. It can be air traffic controllers, airline pilots. It can be, doctors and nurses in accident, emergency, etc. Traders know that, in veterans know that confidence in any subject, confidence comes from competence. Competence comes from developing skills. Developing skills comes from drilling. Which is basically, it's a process. You're following a process until the response becomes automatic. Veterans Edge, they know that skill is a drill. And that's the very nature of it. And that's, as I said, when we're looking for why to use checklists, it is one of the things that not only can it help you reduce human error, but also it it helps give you a process to follow, and you follow that process until the response becomes automatic, because skill is a drill. Now, you'll find that lots of trading education doesn't really talk about this very much, because perhaps it might not be as sexy or as exciting as looking at at a new setup. But I can assure you, from my own trading of many years, from working on trading floors, from working with hundreds, perhaps thousands of traders over the years, that it is these sort of things, in terms of having good checklists, good routines, good behaviors. This is the thing that takes you the furthest as a trader at the beginning of your journey. Okay, and I really, as I said, I really do emphasize the importance of it. Okay, and really, it's very important. Patrick says, I trade trends too. If the market is sideways, just stay away. This helps me to save a lot, losing trades, getting stuck at the sideways market. That's absolutely right, Patrick. And the checklist can help you in terms of identifying your bias. And if you are if you, let's say, for example, as you say, you're a trend trader, and you're looking to trade the best trends, possible, you could have the very best trending setup or method, but if the markets are range bound, well, then your performance of your trade setup will be, less than ideal. And so, even having a checklist that forces you to address, understand what environment is that market you trade in front of you, and just ensure that you don't trade the wrong markets for you, can be enormously helpful. But as I said, good point there. Thank you, Patrick. Skill is a drill, and that's what we like to work from it. And that comes down to three things. And this is interesting, because as I said, it's an edge that maybe veterans have had. But also, a major trading performance house basically did, a good few years ago now, did an analysis of major fund managers, major portfolio managers, traders and investors and managers who are managing multi-billion-dollar funds. Okay, and the three traits that they kept finding displayed throughout all of the best traders, all the best portfolio managers, etc., was process, discipline, and self-awareness. Those are the three things which veterans are tending to be very good at, but also great traders also have a great handle on. And the thing that I think is worth stressing to new traders is that process, discipline, and self-awareness, they're not God-given traits. They are traits that anybody can work at, to develop and get better at. They're something that all of us can do. So process is there. I have a photo there of that. Was Captain Sullenberger, an ex-Air Force pilot who was flying his Airbus, and landed his Airbus in the Hudson River. And if you listen to any of the interviews with Captain Sullenberger, which was undoubtedly a fantastic piece of airmanship, some superb flying, but if you hear about him talking about it, it was basically him and his co-pilot working through their checklists. Okay. And they do that because it works. And when you have a process to follow, like a checklist, it makes it easier to be disciplined, because you're just following that process. And then the other element, which we'll cover in a future session, is about self-awareness. Okay, it's about reviewing your processes, reviewing your checklists, reviewing your trading, and that is another element that comes out, hugely from the from military aviation. Okay, in terms of debriefing your actions, and it doesn't matter. There's a grainy photo there of the Prince of Wales there, as he during his career as a helicopter pilot in the Royal Air Force. But what he means is nobody gets away from debriefing after they're flying. Okay, because it helps raise self-awareness, and that's the same. Good traders, they have a process, they are disciplined in following it, and then they have a good debrief process, which basically helps them raise their awareness, so they're identifying mistakes or errors or blind spots that actually it becomes a virtuous loop that helps them improve as a trader. And that's what we're particularly looking for. And as I said, earlier, I can talk about this with some personal engagement and commitment. Okay, my background, as I said, was in the Air Force as a young man and stuff, and I had some times flying on the AWACS there, big multi-engine aircraft there, and I got to see exactly how checklists can help enormously in military aviation, even to this day, even in war times, etc. they're hugely beneficial. And if you wish to read more about it, there's a fantastic book which I recommend all traders read called The Checklist Manifesto, and it's actually written by a Harvard-educated surgeon, Atul Gawande, and and he was actually tasked to help improve surgeons and surgery teams' performance. And he found that actually, strange enough, that he learned from military aviation that checklists helped them enormously. And as I said, I have personal experience of seeing this in all aspects of life, and so it's one of the reasons why I commend it to you as traders, as a way and a means that you can effectively up your game as a trader and improve your overall trading performance. And I would suggest that pretty much all of the great traders that I've either worked with, as coach, or worked alongside on trading floors, all had trading plans. They all had checklists. They all had good routines that manifested themselves out of checklists. So it may sound like I'm laboring the point. I'm not. I'm doing it because it works. All right, it works, ladies and gentlemen. So why wouldn't you want to utilize something that works to help you be a better trader? So that's all good. As I said, I might appreciate that. I may labour the point, but it's because it works, and I want you to do that. Catherine says, "Can you explain how to create a checklist and what it consists of?" Absolutely, Catherine. That's where we are here. Okay, you've just set me up there beautifully. There, thank you very much for that. Okay, so that's great. Patrick says, I don't quite get you regarding identifying your blind spots. If you have a checklist that has some flaws in it, yet you have to follow the checklist religiously, how can you identify the blind spot unless the checklist is devoid of any flaw? Perfect checklist, and you build on it from there. Please enlighten me on this. Great question, Patrick. Very happy to do that. So when you start to create a checklist, there is a likelihood is that you don't realize how much of your decisions might be made in let's say in a subconscious manner, or that you maybe not even aware of actually how you are making your decisions. And so no checklist to begin with for a new trader is likely to be perfect. However, this is why it's important to collect the data off your trading, and it is also important why you should review every trade, every trading day, every trading week, every trading month, every trading quarter. It's by having a robust debrief procedure that helps raise your self-awareness about areas that you might have missed, or areas that you particularly maybe you got wrong. Maybe you realized that actually in the past you were either not making the decisions consciously or actively, or you were making passive decisions, or you were making no decisions at all. And it is actually about having working on that checklist to improve it, so that you get to a point where it is an immensely useful item to have with you. So as I said, no checklist to begin with. Setting up on your own is likely to be perfect. It is a work in progress that you work upon to tighten up, to make it useful to you, and to make it the best. And as I said, the debriefing of your trading, debriefing of your checklists, working out actually how utilize work, that is where you start to identify what, if any, blind spots you may have. And then you can start to put in a little bit of process of how to address those areas for development. So as the slide says, it's kind of timed nicely. To start with, checklists can help us create simple daily routines to help us ensure that we miss nothing. And it helps us ensure we're in the right trading state to operate effectively every day. And then we can delve deeper and create very specific trading checklists for our own favorite setups. And together, these all become the basis of a tactical trading plan that you would follow on a daily basis to help you have the most successful trading session that you can have. And let me just be very clear. When I say the most successful trading session, that doesn't necessarily mean about the P&L of your trading account, because once a trade is triggered, anything can happen. The important thing is about defining success is that you planned your trade, traded your plan, and managed your risk. These are the three elements that are in control for you. and by creating checklists. Those checklists help you identify and define the best routines to follow to ensure that you give yourself the best chance for trading success on a daily basis. So I hope that helps answer your question there, Patrick. But a great point there. And Catherine, we're going to talk about creating checklists and what they particularly consist of. So now, of course, I remember I've been trading for many years, and I've much experience in terms of that. And so when we talk about utilizing checklists to help start to build a simple routine, you can utilize them for every aspect of your trading. So Patrick talked a little bit earlier about how he has a checklist to help him identify his buyers, help him identify whether it's a trending day or a non-trending day. But we can have checklists to help with our overall routine. We have checklists to ensure we're doing the right thing at the start of the day. So if you think back to earlier in our session, I talked about how it's important to know when the news is coming out. And it's a case of, even just having a checklist to ensure that, you check the news, that you check any news that is relevant to the instruments that you particularly trade. That can be part of your pre-market checklist routine. Okay. So you'll find you can have checklists and routines for the start of your day, pre-market, okay, before you actually even open your trading. Checklists to make sure you're okay through the market opening. You can have a checklist routine to make sure you're doing the right things in between sessions, and also even a simple checklist routine to identify post-market. So there is lots of them there that you can actually develop and generate. And as I said earlier, the reality is it's not going to be perfect right off the bat, okay, and that's okay. The important thing is that you start and just either sit in front of your computer or sit down on a paper and just start to basically write out, okay, what are the things that you need to do, every day to ensure that you give yourself the best chance to operate effectively and in financial markets. So, for example, your start of the day might be, you might have a simple checklist routine, namely, how well did I sleep? Am I awake and ready, long before my trading session starts? As in, do I have my time to ensure that I do things? Maybe you exercise, maybe you have breakfast, maybe you do stretches, maybe you have affirmations, maybe you complete your gratitude journal, maybe you just basically go for a walk. All of these things that you just have a little checklist routine that you can help just ensure that you're doing the right things at that time of the day or that time of the trading session that help give you the best chance to operate effectively, to operate at your best trading state. So, as I said, they are unlikely to be perfect to begin with. That's okay. The important thing is you start. And as you start and as you debrief and as you review them, you will find that there will be elements that will go in. There'll be elements that you need to tighten up on. It'll also, as I said, raise your awareness about where perhaps maybe you have been passive as opposed to active, and also about whether you just have been making decisions or not making them at all. So Patrick says, I get you. It's a work in progress checklist subject to further improvement, provided you review your trading performance on a regular basis. Be mindful of your trading mistakes and make it a point not to repeat it again. It takes time to evolve into an improved version of your personal checklist. You're absolutely spot on, Patrick. It's not going to be perfect. That's okay. Make a start, but just make sure you review it, okay? Make sure you review it. Now, initially, it might be on a daily basis, then it might be on a weekly, then it might be on a monthly, then it might be on a quarterly basis. As your checklist becomes tighter and becomes more effective, and you start to utilize it. And in terms of, for traders who may struggle with elements of discipline, you can make it a game that actually, your trading day is a success if you followed your checklist, okay? If you followed your checklist, all right? And that's the sort of thing that helps build process, okay? It's the sort of thing that builds discipline. It's the sort of thing that helps many traders. So it is as I say, it's a work in progress, but the important thing is to look and to start. So, when we just look at sort of some simple elements, okay, is that, one of the things I talk about is that I'm very keen on traders preparing for their trading day correctly by being at their desk, maybe 30 to 60 minutes before the session opens. And the reason I say that is because, I get contacted by lots of traders who, let's say, for example, trade the DAX, and it's, the sort of, the DAX is opening up at 7 o'clock London, 8 o'clock German time, and they might just sort of roll out of bed at sort of 5 to 7 to be ready there for the opening and stuff. And they're perhaps a little bit unsurprised, or rather shouldn't be unsurprised, why their trading performances may be a little bit weak, a little bit less than ideal. And part of that is about being prepared, okay? Being prepared for your trading. And this is part of your routine. These are the things that you put checklists about, because this is your trading business, ladies and gentlemen. And you have to take elements of it very seriously. You've got to show markets respect, show your trading some respect, show your capital some respect. And so starting to prepare for your trading day, just by, as I said, being prepared at your desk 30 to 60 minutes before the session opens, creating that checklist, okay, that ensures that you've have you slept well, okay, are you hydrated, okay, are you fed, okay, in terms of in a good position to operate, okay, you're not sort of like tired, or have you stretched, maybe you've exercised, maybe you've read something that's positive that puts you in a good frame, okay, maybe you've done written in your gratitude journal, maybe you've got some affirmations, maybe you just reviewing the kind of your good trading days, okay, just to sort of, as I said, get yourself into the right place, into the right state, so that you are as well prepared as you possibly can be for that particular trading session. And very often having that checklist and that routine is enormously helpful, okay, is enormously helpful to just make sure you're doing the right things at the right time as you go through your trading day. So, as I've been saying, it is about having a checklist which becomes part of your tactical trading plan. What it does is it provides you with structure, provides you with consistency, provides you with discipline, and through that, you generally tend to have reduced errors and emotional turmoil. And the overall effect is that checklists do improve results. And it might not necessarily, be on every single trade, but in terms of your overall trading career, the overall way you conduct yourself as a trader, the overall longevity and success of it, I can assure you that as a new trader, creating checklists is one of the simplest things that you can do to help be the best trader you possibly can be. So, Patrick asks, how long does it take you to develop a good checklist from your transition from military to financial field, where you reach a stage of delivering consistent trading performance? That's a very good question, Patrick. So I was fortunate in that sense that I understood the importance of creating a checklist, and I understood the importance of managing risk. And so those two elements are what helped me make a successful transition across to trading. I still had lots to learn. I still had lots to learn about markets. I still had lots to learn about trading. I still had lots to learn about myself. But having checklists, okay, having a tactical trading plan, managing risk, they were the things that basically helped keep me. They provided me with a structure, which meant that I was consistent in the way I approached with markets, which was what helped make me very disciplined as a trader. And also, I had a way and a means to invariably reduce errors and emotional turmoil. When markets are moving fast, or when there's a change in the world, maybe it's a geopolitical event that has triggered, sort of markets moving. If you're a new trader and you haven't worked to a point of where skill is a drill, well, then invariably, that means that emotional turmoil can mean that sometimes we make poor trading decisions. But if we have a checklist, okay, it gives us, as I said, that discipline, that consistency, and most importantly, that structure. And these are the things that can actually help. So, in terms of, it didn't take very long for me, okay, to have that transition, because I've worked in a high performance environment which used these managed risk and checklists. But for let's say everyday Joe or Joanna trader, etc. I can assure you, it might take a couple of months, but it is definitely time and energy invested well in your future success as a trader. And as I said, you can make a game out of it. If you're struggling with discipline in your trading, make a bit of a game out of creating your checklist and actually scoring yourself very, very high on following your checklist. And if you're not following your checklist, well, then you have to ask questions about, well, why is that? What is going on there? What is actually happening? What is occurring? Because that in itself is a fantastic feedback loop, which should come into your review and debrief process to help you improve as a trader. So, how do you actually create one? Right? What does a good one look like? Right, in terms of a trading checklist. So, this is my preference, which is, as I said, has come from my own experience. Okay, both in military aviation as a trader. Generally, I tend to have a single page which is A5 sized. Okay, and the reason being is that I can literally have it here next to me on my trading disk. It is checklist style in the sense that it is a simple yes/no responses that I can actually tick off that I have done. So especially when you're at the start, when you're actually you have to work at it until that process becomes automatic. But just even being able to have a checklist style that you can tick off, have I done this? Have I done that? That is enormously helpful. It should also be easy to interpret. Namely, I could give it to my 12-year-old nephew, and they could actually follow it in terms of following my start of the day checklist, my pre-market checklist, my actual checklist for each specific trading setup. All right, so that they could actually follow it. And that is something that you have to work at, and you will be surprised once you start to work at it and commit to it and build it, and how many little blind spots you have had. Okay, you guys realize, as I said, either decisions that you made subconsciously, or decisions you just weren't making, or decisions you were avoiding, or you were being passive. It brings it up, and you have to get a little bit clear on how to actually do that. And what I will do here, there's one or two little slides in here, but on my probably on my on one of my Twitter feeds, what I'll do is I'll put up a couple of examples of checklists that I've utilized in the past, so that could help as an example there. So, as I said, what it should be, I normally have like single A5 page. Okay, so it's just small. I could actually have it on my knee, if I needed it or wanted it. Checklist style, literally, it just literally goes through tick, 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 tick. It is easy to interpret. It's not you writing paragraphs. It's like bullet points, okay, that anybody can understand and follow. But it should also define your risk management principles. Certainly, when you're looking at it in terms of a checklist for your trade setup, your risk management principles in terms of the precision of where you get in, where you get out for your trades, where you exit your trades when you're wrong, where you exit your trades when you're right. All of these are crucially important elements. Just checking. There's been quite a lot of questions and points and stuff. So thank you for that. It's fantastic. I really appreciate that. So here's a very simple one for you that you might want to take a screenshot and take away and utilize for as one example. Okay, so this is one for a specific trade setup, which is just it's a checklist for using a pin bar. Okay, a very simple price action setup that I've talked about, I think, here in past, and you'll find that there are probably links to that on the webinar archive on the ActivTrades page. But what it does is it acts as not only a checklist, but also it starts to provide me with enough data to give me an insight into when I write my trade journal review after the trade. All right, so as we've been saying along, it is about trial and refinement. Okay, as you take your trades, you will refine it, you will improve it, you'll tighten it up. And I assure you, what you will find is that the more you create these checklists and follow them, the quicker you will identify your strengths as a human being, but also as a trader. It'll help you uncover some of your weaknesses. You'll discover areas for your development, and you are training yourself until the process becomes automatic. And that can be, as I said, that is enormously helpful. And sometimes it takes how long that takes will depend upon you and your trading style. Okay, but I assure you can watch. So literally it is just, I can fill in the date, okay, and fill in the time, what was the instrument, what's the number of the trade, okay, and as I'm filling that data in, I can tick it away. I'm looking at what is the trend, was it up, was it down? STAM is my own proprietary elements, okay. Is that market sideways? It's a reminder, okay, if it's sideways, is the market ranging, or is it choppy, okay, in which case I have decisions to make in terms of that. When I look at the pin bar itself, is there a good length of the wick? Is it a significant sized pin bar? Is it same direction as the trend? Is it supporting? Is the body of it inside the previous bar's range? Because I know that when I have all of those elements together, those are my kind of particular best setup. I have a checklist for confluences. Is it bouncing off a moving average? Is it at a level of support resistance? Is it bouncing off a trend line? Is it bouncing off a large round number, big round number? So these are things that are part of the context for the pattern for me. And then I'm just looking at a trade checklist itself. All right, am I long or short? In which case, what's the price? What's my entry tactic? Okay, is it next bars, highs, lows, etc., retraces? Where is my stop loss? Okay, what is the price my stop loss is? Where is my stop losses? And also, what is my profitable exit? Okay, am I working on a reward to risk, or am I using a targets? Okay, or am I trailing my stop? Okay, etc. So I've just literally got that's just for one particular setup. All right, as I said, it acts as a checklist to make sure I'm doing the right things. It helps me collect the data, so when I do my review journal afterwards, I have the data there very quickly to hand. And as I said, that can be A5 size. Okay, just do it, print it off, have it next to you, just fill it out. Okay, just as in this is one for when you're engaged in your trading, just fill it out, because that can actually, as I said, help you just start to make sure you're doing the right things. Make sure you're not you're not taking sloppy trades, or you're not just taking trades out of boredom, or you're not just taking trades that don't meet your specific setup rules. Okay, so it just helps, as I said, give you a bit of consistency, a little bit of discipline, keep you on the straight and narrow when you particularly need it most. So before we switch across to live markets, just in a quick conclusion, I believe 2024 is going to be an eventful year in markets. It might be said the last couple of years have all been eventful, and I think 2024 will be eventful itself. And I hope that you'll join us here on the Monday Market Matters webinars to help navigate yourself through them. When we come to talk about checklists came from the increasing complexity in military aviation, all right? And they're used in many industries, and it's simply because they work, right? They work, they help you. Traders in particular, you can learn from them and use them to bring consistency to your performance. Checklists allow you to ensure that you do not miss anything, and to practice your actions until it becomes an automatic response. Okay, so it's a very simple tool. As I said, lots of people ignore it because they don't think it's sexy or what have you, but I assure you, it will help you improve as a trader. So we've got a few minutes left, so why don't we have a little switch across to the live markets and see how we're setting up. At the markets have been open for about, US markets have been open for about 20 minutes or so. Before we do, just a reminder, join us next Monday, London, 2:00, Monday Market Matters. And what we're going to talk about there is the power of the 20-period moving average and how you can utilize that in your trading. Okay, if you're not registered for the sessions, as I said, there's a QR code there. Take a screenshot. Okay, use your mobile, take a point, and register for it. And I hope to see you. I hope to see you there. As always, if you're watching this later on the archive, or you've got questions or comments or thoughts or feedback, you can do so. You can phone the English desk 0207 6500 567, or email them englishdesk@activetrades.com if you've got questions, comments, or thoughts or feedback. So let's switch across to the charts, have a little look for the last 10 minutes. So just bear with me one moment and we'll switch across. Just give me a moment. Here we go. Just going to switch across to the trades platforms. Okay, so Bang. I'm hoping you can still, hope you can hear me, hope you can still see me. Just looking at this. Here we go, Patrick. Sometimes it takes long hours to reach your target profit. Having a checklist and target profit doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stick to the target profit, or you can close your target profit short of a few pips since you waited more than 10 hours, for example. By closing target profits early, it stops you from losing from a reversal market. Well, what I'd be saying, Patrick, on that is, but that is to be in, it should be part of your rules that go into your checklist, and so it might well be that you have to have identified rules, whether it be like a time-based stop or whether there is a particular movement-based stop in terms of if it moves, if your trade moves 80-90% towards your target, then invariably you have a rule that allows you to close out a trade, etc. So this is the sort of thing that it starts to make you raise your awareness about where you need to tighten up on your particular rules, because what you don't want to be doing is you don't want to have complete discretion in the way you manage your trades, because what tends to happen is, if you're trading fast moving markets, then what we tend to see is that people make emotional decisions, knee-jerk reactions to moves in markets. And what we're trying to do is trying to get away from that. What we actually want to do is just be consistent in the way we conduct ourselves on a trade-by-trade basis. Hope that helps you. So here we go. This is a profile for US indices. Let's have a little look at this. As you can see, the S&P 500, we've been in our kind of super uptrend. Okay, what I'm interested in here is the Nasdaq. I'm just looking to see, right? Okay, well, where are the kind of highs and lows of the sessions have been? What I normally talk about, certainly on kind of intraday trading, is that I just want to understand where the kind of, excuse my drawings there, where kind of like specific sort of kind of actually this should be down there. My apologies. Where specific kind of like highs and lows have been, to want to see how does the market react in that. Certainly on Nasdaq there, that's the 30-minute chart. If I go down to the 15-minute chart, as what I normally say is, I normally give the sort of first 15 maybe to 20 minutes a miss, because you can see that there's a great deal of volatility there. Start of the week on a Monday. Okay, you can see as I go down to the 5-minute chart, you can see that we can see that there's been quite a shift and quite a maneuver there. So in particular, what I'll be watching for is to see, how does market sort of work at these particular levels and ranges? Does it push up and does it continue and then go up to Friday's highs? Okay, or is it an area where it reverses off? So at the moment, that first 30-minute candle there is looking like, well, we've still got 6 minutes to go. That's still looking like it's just going to be kind of, I would define that as kind of a bit of a range candle. It's not really giving me any clarity on whether it's a trending day or a range bound day so far. Maybe just at the moment it's ranging, but we will see, as I said, in about 6 minutes time what that particularly looks like. And so the 5-minute chart, we're just maneuvering in and out. However, on the Dow, if I look at here, we've had there's a kind of the highs of the electronic session beforehand. As we get into the opening, you can see that actually it was a very the sort of prior to the market open, there's kind of very bullish price action there. We can see that from the market opening, we're very bullish thrust, and we've come back there, and we've tested that. So that seems to have the Dow certainly has a kind of a bullish intention there. Okay, I would be looking at that. That's the way. And this, I will say this is interesting me, because actually what we're seeing in the Russell's doing the exact opposite. And actually what we have done there is we've dropped to the lows. And those of you who have joined us, or if you've seen me talk about, what I normally like to see is, I like to see all of the American indices in correlation, in terms of all of them moving in step together. When one is going up, one is going sideways, and one is going down, that generally sort of that acts as a bit of a red flag for me. I'm sure there are some people who trade that beautifully, but at the start of a week, as I said, I'd like to see markets in lockstep together, not confused. But what we can see in the Russell, we popped down, we dropped down there, we just bang, hit the overnight lows and have bounced off that. So not a massive surprise there, the price action there. Let me have a look at the 1-minute chart. Let's see what that's. Sorry, excuse me. Bang. That's just been quite some. It moved down to the previous day's lows, the overnight lows, and you can see we've reversed off that, and we're having dropped, we're now rallying there. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how that's played out. And how are we looking on the S&P 500? S&P 500 is, well, it's I'm saying that's bullish. It's pushed through its let's say the pre-opening highs. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, you can see it's it's not been able to close above those kind of pre-market highs, but we're still only into the early element of the session. So Patrick says, I get it. It's subject to revision based on your data. The bigger the sample size, the bigger it speaks volumes of the pattern repeatable. You make amendments to your rules based on what data tell you. Absolutely. Okay. Get a sample size, 20, 50, 100 trades. The bigger the sample size, the more accuracy there is in your data and your findings. And then you can make good amendments based upon hard data rather than letting your recency bias run amok and just you changing your rules trade by trade by trade, which is what you find lots of traders do. All you need is a sample size of 20, 50, 100, etc. That's what will help you, Patrick. All right, so gosh, just looking at, as I said, well, Dow was pushing up, isn't it? So was the Russell, but maybe we're getting a little bit of reversal. It's a little bit confused. That's not massively a surprise because tomorrow we've got JOLTS job openings. Wednesday we have FOMC. Friday we have NFP. So it wouldn't surprise me for this week to be a little bit of a confusing week until we get some clarity from the data, B, from Mr. Powell's comments. Okay, so and that is probably reflective. I'm just going to finish off by looking at the US dollar here. I have a profile here for the US dollar. We can have a quick look at the dollar index because that kind of, as I said, that kind of confusion, or maybe that, let's say, that lack of conviction has been quite evident on the dollar index. This is let's go dollar index on the weekly chart. We had a real bearish trend there, okay, for the last end of the year, but then start of 2024, we've had kind of, on the weekly chart, we reversed and moved our way up, been up above the weekly 50, but then, we had on the daily chart, we had a nice move, but actually, hopefully you can probably see there for most of those last sort of 8-9 days, we have for the most part just pivoted sideways, pivoted around that 200 period moving average, 103 level. We've had a little bit of a juicy start this afternoon, but we'll see whether that actually can continue. Certainly, there we go. It's been a little bit of a bullish morning. It's a 30-minute chart there, okay, rising up to there. But as I said, I suspect what will happen is that we will see the big moves will occur after we've got the data out, okay, after people are seeing that. And I think that might be the kind of more a case of here. That's the euro getting sold off after some of the comments over the weekend by the French central bank governor. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We're sort of time flies when you're having fun, and I'm afraid we've kind of come to the end of our time together today. I hope that you have found that session useful. I hope that's given you some insight into what a checklist is, why they really are important, how you can start to create them yourself, okay, and why it's a work in progress. Don't expect it to be perfect right from the off. It doesn't have to be. The important thing is just start, okay? Just start getting, and you might find it a fascinating insight into how you've been doing your work, how you've been, how you've been actually operating as a trader. And this is all about, giving you a bit of structure, a bit of consistency, a bit of discipline, and all of these things tend to help contribute towards you being a better trader in your journey. So thank you very much. Patrick says, very good webinar. Thank you for your explanation. You're very welcome, Patrick. Thanks for your questions. V says, many thanks. Yep, you're very welcome. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being here for the session. As I said, next week we're going to talk about trading utilizing the power of the 20 period moving average. I hope you'll join me for that. As I said, it's a busy week, so I wish you the best in your trading endeavors. Trade well, everybody, and I look forward to speaking to you next Monday. Take care, everybody. Cheers.